I've got a lot of grandbabies, like a lot. And when it comes to finding a gift for each of them, it could add up. But this year, while I was making my way through Walmart, I realized I don't have to spend a lot to get the gifts they'll love.
An OPI mini mani set! I'm gonna do so much nail art.
Oh, yeah! A Lego set! Might own a Walla water bottle!
Ooh, and that's just half of them.
Shop great gifts they're sure to love for $25 and under at Walmart.
Is your cold making it hard for you to get to sleep and leading to a bad morning? Switch to Mucinex Night Shift for fast, powerful nighttime multi-symptom cold and flu relief. Mucinex Night Shift fights your worst nighttime symptoms to help you get to sleep and wake up ready to go. Mucinex Night Shift. It's comeback season. Use as directed.
First and foremost, I'm sorry about the sound. I'm recording this in my headphones, so please bear with me. Okay, this is going to have to be short and sweet because I'm literally recording this on my headphones with the mic, the little gaming headphones my man's got me because my man, but I just have to say this, and let me say it very clearly. I am reading Game of Thrones, and I just finished the chapter where, okay, first and foremost, this is all going to be spoilers. Connie. What just happened? What was that noise? Hello? Y'all ever hear a weird noise and like your dog's not in your sight and you're just like, oh no, what did you do? Yeah, that just kind of happened. She was in the kitchen and I have my headphones on so I can't really hear, but I heard. Anyways, this is all going to be spoilers. I'm talking all Game of Thrones, the book, and the TV show. So, I am on page 360 of the book, and I just finished Ned's chapter, aka Eddard's chapter, and the next chapter is Catelyn that I have to read. But Catelyn's chapters are so boring. Her chapters are so boring. I don't like the woman, okay? From the beginning with her being like, you're a bastard, I don't like you. Like, oh, I would have been perfectly fine if Ned would have fathered multiple children from multiple women, but he fathered one and he brings you to the castle. Like, I can't stand to see your face because the fact that he won't even talk of your mother makes me believe that he loved her more than he loves me, and she can't live with that, right? Because her marriage says he loves her dearly. He's a man of honor. He would never. But yet, he did and came home with the baby. And this child is living with them, and he honors this child. I don't like you. So I don't like her. Because I think she's a little... I need to find better words than curse words. How do I put this? She's a little slow of the mind, if you will. She's... I need to find a better word for mean. How do I put this? Slow of the mind. She's a little... I don't know, malicious is the only word I have right now. Don't worry, we're going to be expanding my vocabulary so I can use better words. I don't want to use curse words. I want to use very specific dictionary words so we can all learn dictionary words together, because I truly do love this new trend of like demure or decorum, you know? I love it. Anyways, that's besides the point. She has no decorum. She's not very demure. And I don't like it. And I don't like her. And especially because I saw the TV show and the book does not... the book very much reflects the TV show. And the TV show does a great job of following the book. And again, I'm only halfway through book 1 so far because I know season 8, like they completely put that thing down, flipped it and reversed it. And it's nothing like the books. That's the only thing I know, which is why I want to read the books, because I want to see the difference. But so far, like season 1 and 2, they've done a really good job at following the book, but doing it in a TV show and making it their own. And so the books and the TV show so far are great standalones without taking from the story. because all the parts that weren't included in the TV show are parts that truly so far don't make that big of a difference in the book, or they change some scenes and stage certain scenes differently, but it's the exact same conversation, like almost word for word from the book. So I'm really enjoying that part. But I've hit the part where King Robert Baratheon gives Ned back the clasp for Hand of the King to be the king's hand. And Ned was like, but I'm gone. Like, you already said you don't want me to be your hand. And he was like, take it. And if you throw it back in my face, I'm pinning the damn thing on Jaime Lannister. And I sat there and I closed the book because I'm about to like hop on my computer and answer emails and stuff, you know, gotta hit that work life. But even though I'm still unemployed, it's a whole lot. I can't explain what I'm doing right now in my life. I'm not moving in silence. I just don't feel like explaining it because this is a whole episode specifically about Game of Thrones. What pisses me off about this is that Robert Baratheon is surrounded by Lannisters. Ever so slowly, he has become surrounded by Lannisters, and he let it happen one position at a time. He married a Lannister. His Kingsguard is a Lannister. His squire is a Lannister. Most of the people who live in his castle are Lannisters. Tywin Lannister is his strongest military opponent. The person who funds every single thing that he does, any royal thing, any spectacles he wants to put on in the name of the king, is funded by the Lannister family. It is all Lannisters. He is surrounded by Lannisters, and he let it happen. And now that he holds the crown, he talks about what we see in House of the Dragon, because I haven't gotten, obviously. Okay, if you don't know, the House of the Dragon book actually comes after books 1 through 5. So the House of the Dragon book, where we're taking through the history of how we got to the Game of Thrones, and you know, we get to learn the history of this, what is it? The Dance of Dragons, a song of dragons, a ballad. What is it? Crap. I think it's a Dance of Dragons is what they call the war, where we get to learn, you know, the fight between the dragons and stuff. That is after, what is that last book? A Dance with Dragons? Yeah, I think the 5th book is A Dance with Dragons. So that book comes after A Dance with Dragons, which is the final book of the Game of Thrones series, or A Song of Fire and Ice series, technically. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so the theme of the season of the TV show, both seasons in fact, has been the crown is not something that you win, but it is something that's actually a burden. The person who wears it is not triumphant, but instead is burdened with taking care of the 7 kingdoms, a full kingdom of people. You have to take care of people. You have to make sure they're good. If war comes to you, you got to figure it out. If people don't want to live in peace, you got to figure it out. You always have to figure out how to solve people's troubles without messing up the flow and the balance of what makes this kingdom work. So for example, when Aegon becomes king in House of Dragons, you know, a farmer comes up to him and is like, your dragons kind of ate my sheep, bro. Like, I don't know what to do, because it was the only way that I was able to supply my family and sustain them. And Aegon wants to be a gentle and kind ruler that can keep peace and keep his people happy. And he says, well, don't worry about it. We'll give you double the sheep that the dragon have eaten, because you're right, that's not a good thing. But then Otto Hightower is like, hey, we actually can't do that, because if we do that, we won't have enough sheep to feed our dragons. And right now, we have Viserys Targaryen's daughter, on another island planning war against us with her dragons. So our dragons need to be strong enough to fight her dragons in case it ever comes to that. So no, we can't supply this man with sheep. We actually just got to let him go because we got to take care of us first. And Aegon is like, well, how are we supposed to take care of people if we put ourselves first? And he very quickly learns the disappointment of bearing the crown. And that is what Robert's going through in Game of Thrones. We see it in the TV show, but you really get to experience it in the book, and you really get to experience the deep dive conversation. I fully just burped, but you really get to experience the deep dive conversations that weren't able to happen in the TV show. You know, the parts that aren't important to the story, but they're important to learn why the character is the way that they are. And Robert is just like, Ned, you should have taken the crown. Ned, I wish I did not do this. I wish I did not take this crown. It sucks. I'm so sick of this. I'm happy that I get to take care of people. I do think I am a better ruler than Rhaegar Targaryen, but I can't do this, and I want to hand this off to someone. But the only reason why I won't do it is because I do not want Cersei and Joffrey to rule this kingdom, because I'll be damned if Joffrey sits upon that throne and Cersei whispers in his ear. And when Robert hands back the silver pin to make Ned the hand of the king again, he says, I'll pin the damn thing on Jaime Lannister. And he knew. I wish we got his point of view of that one sentence alone, like a 1-page thought process of when he said that. Because between Robert and Ned, they have the understanding that the Lannisters can't keep doing the way they're doing. Like, Robert he is so burdened by this crown that he has no more fight left in him. His glory days are over. He realized the fun was in taking the crown back, or taking the crown for himself. And now that he has it, he's not living in the fun of being a strong, very fit man who could wield his war hammer and kill people and fight for something, fight for a movement, fight for the people. No, he doesn't have any of that fight left. Instead, he just has to sit there and do the mundane things of, like, how do we keep this kingdom fed? How do I keep myself fed? Like, children need to marry off to other people, like, just very courtly political things. And he hates it. And so he doesn't have the fight to fight with the Lannisters, but him and Ned have the understanding. We can't let the Lannisters go on the way they are going on. And he doesn't understand to what extent, but Robert and Ned do have the understanding, like, we can't put more Lannisters in power. And that's why that threat works. That's why he knew to say that to Ned. I'll pin the damn thing on Jaime Lannister, because he has no one else that he can trust. The only people he could trust was Jon Arryn. That man's dead. He doesn't even know that the Lannisters have something to do with it, but the man's dead. And all he has now is Ned. And that's why he asked for Ned, because he is like, how do I stop these damn Lannisters from suffocating me? So I'll pin the damn thing on Jaime Lannister because I have absolutely no one else. You understand that. We both know we don't need the Lannisters to rise higher in power. Arguably, Ned more than Robert knows that. But that's why it works. Because he even said the only thing stopping him from completely leaving the Iron Throne and going off to some whorehouse and fornicating with as many women as he wants to is because he does not want to see Joffrey and Cersei rule this kingdom. He absolutely refuses, and he'll do everything to stop that from happening. Oh, I'm tired. He'll do everything to stop that from happening for as long as possible. Which then brings us over to Cersei Lannister, where this conversation between him and Ned and becoming Hand of the King happens right after he slaps Cersei to the point where she's going to bruise. And she says, I'll wear this bruise like a badge of honor. And he was like, okay, but wear it silently. And he has her escorted out. And when she leaves the room, we finally get to see for the first time that he is remorseful for the way he treats Cersei. And then I guess you kind of see the ignorance of who Robert is and how he wasn't meant to be a ruler, but he was always meant to be.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. There's nothing sweeter than baking cookies during the holidays. With Prime, I get all my ingredients delivered right to my door, fast and free, no last-minute store trips needed. And of course, I blast my favorite holiday playlist on Amazon Music. It's the ultimate soundtrack for creating unforgettable memories. From streaming to shopping, it's on Prime. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to get more out of whatever you're into.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
The fighter, because he says, I know I shouldn't have hit her. That wasn't very kingly, but how are you supposed to fight someone if you can't hit them? And he kind of looks at his hands strangely. And even Ned was like, why is he looking at his hands like that? Like, he's looking at them like they're kind of foreign objects. And that's when you realize, like, no, this, like, Robert should have been Kingsguard. Everyone keeps saying, Ned, you should have done it. You should have done it. Because Ned in his little Winterfell kingdom makes a great lord. Like, he does so well at ruling, but he does well at ruling because he loves Winterfell. That's been his home for so long. He enjoys getting to learn the people. He knows, we see over and over that Ned is the perfect ruler. If you've seen the TV show, you know he never gets that chance. He's killed before he does. But he's always been the perfect ruler. And now all his sons are trying to learn to rule as he did because he learned his people and knew how to take care of his people. And that's why everyone's like, Ned, you should have done it. But what people don't realize is Ned would have come to the same, I guess, like circumstances, Robert, because Ned loves being in the winter. Like, even when his wife, like, what we don't see in the TV series, actually, and again, this is what I mean by you get to learn the characters deeper in the book. And I knew that after I was like starting my hello, Brianna, English, my rewatch of Game of Thrones, I kept saying like, oh, I know these make great books because you always get to learn the characters deeper in a book than you do in a movie or TV show because you only have so much time. And after a bit of love making, a little, well, it's not fornication, it's just sexual intimacy, truly. In the first few chapters of this book, Catelyn literally giggles and laughs, Catelyn Stark, because she was like, and Ned does what he's always done for years, every single day. And that's how you find out, like, oh my gosh, they're so in love that even though they're in this old age, like, they're still love making every night, like a true love making. She literally says, like, the throbbing between her legs makes her so happy because she hopes she can bear another child for him. She's old, but she's not old enough to be out of childbirth in years, and she hopes they can have another little baby. But her room in the castle, and this is something they don't explain. We just, like, in the TV show, you're just like, okay, so like the Starks just love the cold. Like, I know those rooms are freezing. But then you find out in the book that the castle is actually built on top of, like, baby, I don't know the scientific term for it. I don't even know the book term. A reservoir, I believe. Like, I don't know. Basically, they're built on top of a natural spring, I guess you can say, and they leave out hollowed parts in the wall so that way the hot water from beneath the ground runs through the castle walls. So even though there's a full-on blizzard outside, the rooms in the castle are always warm. And Catelyn, her bedroom is right above the entrance of that. So she has the hottest room in the castle, and she loves it that way because she's a Tully and she comes from spring air and not northern winters. But Ned comes from northern winters. And so every time they finish their little sexual intimacy moments, he walks right over to the window, and opens them up completely naked. And she giggles because she's like, oh, he always does this. He always says my room is too hot and he needs to open the windows and feel the snow on his bare skin because that's my man and he'll always be a northerner. So Ned would have hated ruling the Iron Throne. He loves the winter weather. He loves the north. He loves the people in his north. And that's what makes him a good ruler. But in the Seven Kingdoms, he's in the hot air. He's in summers. He's not seen any ounce of snow because snow at the Red Keep means winter is coming. And that means the White Walkers about to cross the streets, babes. Like they ride down the street like we gotta go. You know? And so everyone keeps saying, Ned, you should have taken the throne. You should have taken the throne. But Ned would have been a horrible ruler. And he knew that. And he knew specifically because he didn't want it. But arguably, that's what makes people a good ruler of the Iron Throne, right? It's the people who don't want it because they understand the burden. And that's the issue. People who want the Iron Throne, they don't understand that it's a burden to take care of so many people. And that's what makes them horrible rulers because they don't understand it is not just glory, fame, and gold. What is it? The 3 G's that the Americans were searching for in Manifest Destiny? Gold, glory, God. Yeah, it's not just gold, glory, and God that you get when you're on the Iron Throne, you know? It's a true burden to keep this whole, like, everything falls on your shoulders. Like, even when people do say, oh, I'm keeping the king's peace, I'm doing justice in the name of the king, your name is attached to everything that happens in this damn kingdom. And so the people who want it are horrible rulers because they think about themselves and the power they will get. But the people who don't want it think about the people that they have to take care of. And they realize, damn, ain't nobody can talk me into taking that crown. Which arguably would have made Ned a great ruler. And so it's just like, it's just this double-edged sword of like, I don't think he would have been a good ruler to the 7 Kingdoms. Because he loves the North, he loves his people in the North, but he's aware he's human and he understands what it takes to even rule and to take care of people. And he wouldn't have stayed. He also would have wanted to flee, and he never would have been happy. And so just that alone, he would have turned what Robert has become, a man who is not happy, a man who can't stand having this crown on his head anymore. Yeah, he's the king, and it sounds great in conversations when you're like, I'm the king, I command you to do this, but in reality, it's like, damn, like, I hate this crown. I'm so tired of these stupid meetings. I'm so tired of listening to people complain all day. I'm so tired of people wanting things from me. Like, leave me alone. I'm just a man who wants to live. I'm just a man who wants to eat, drink, and fornicate. So Ned also would have turned into a Robert Baratheon. He would have been a horrible ruler. But I don't know. It's so weird. It's so weird to read the books and understand them at a deeper level, because now I understand where the writers were coming from in the TV show and why they do certain things the way they did. Like, I was very pissed off because in the show, who was it? Khal Drogo. His first sex scene with Daenerys, when her brother, what he believes is, sells her off to the Dothraki, that first consummation of marriage is shown to be a very rape-like scene, right? Very sexual assault. But in the book, it's where Khal Drogo shows that he has this soft, loving side, and they're actually going to have a happy marriage because he asked for her consent. And he was like, the only word he knew in the common tongue was no. And so she asks, oh my gosh, do you speak the common tongue? No. And then she tries to cover herself up as he's like taking her clothes off, and he goes, no. And then she says it was the most beautiful, gentle caresses of touch and tender and loving touches that she's ever felt from someone, that by the time that he asked her no, question mark, as in, do you want me to continue going further, or do we stop here? She grabs his hand and says yes, and they continue to consummate their wedding or their marriage. And it's only later on in the books, because he's gotten that one yes from her and they're married and everything's fine, that she says he's so busy ruling over his Khalasar. He's so busy just doing everything, I guess, for his people, that by the time that he comes home and he's drunk and just crazy and she's tired, that he just takes her in the tents. And she said some nights, because he's just so rough and like in his own head, that she cries tears from the pain, but then moving forward she gets to cry tears of joy, and she enjoys it, and she's so in love with the man. And so that's what pissed me off in the TV show, because the TV show shows it as, from the start, he was such a horrible, cruel man that didn't care about her, that even when it's time to consummate, she didn't feel like she had a friend in him, and he assaults her. But the other part is, in the book, so in the TV show, they show that one of the people, one of her handmaidens that are helping her clean herself up and whatnot, teaches her, let me show you how to ride a man to make him listen, because there's this really powerful woman, and it was always said that men looked to her like she mounted a man, and this is how she got men to fall in love with her, especially within the Dothraki. Let me teach you everything you need to learn about the bedroom to really take power over him, or to feel like an equal in this marriage. That happens on screen, and we see from start to finish all the lessons that she's teaching Daenerys in, or Dany, we could just call her Dany. In the book, though, that happens off the page. It's just, suddenly she says, everyone leave except for, and she names the girl, and I can't pronounce the girl's name, which is also why I want the damn audiobook, because I want to know the pronunciations of these things to make sure I'm pronouncing them right, because there are certain names and stuff that weren't in the TV show or are different from the TV show. They didn't change what the character did or like change the plot. It's just they're different. And so I'm like, I want the damn audiobook, but I'm getting it from the library because I don't want to pay for it because unemployed. And the library wait time for this damn audiobook started off, I believe, at 5 or 6 weeks. We're currently down to 3 weeks, and I'm second in line to get this audiobook, and I want it so bad. I want it so much sooner, because I'm like, I'm literally going to finish the book by the time I get the audiobook, but it is what it is. But yeah, she literally just says, everyone leave except for so and so, you stay. And then the next scene, she drags Khal Drogo outside. She literally takes off her clothes, drags him outside, and they make love in the open sky with the stars, because she says the Dothraki believe that anything of great importance to happen to a man happens to him under the watch of the stars and the moon, like under the watch of the open sky. So she does it outside, and she was like, I don't care that the entire village of our people are watching me, because they literally have sex in front of each other all the time. It's kind of their culture to just do it. So like, why can't me and my man do it in front of them? Like, actually, I don't care if they hear us screaming in pleasure, like whatever. And then and she says she does it exactly like so and so taught her. And so that's when you learn that's why she asked her to stay, because this girl was teaching her how to do things. And then skip ahead, it's literally like a time jump again, and then the next paragraph is she's riding along, and one of the other handmaidens looks at her, touches her belly, and was like, you're with child. And she says, yeah, I know. And that's how you find out that Dany is 14. So I have to say, George R.R. Martin, great author, great writer. I do find it very, very strange that we have a lot of talk of a lot of young girls being put in these positions because that wasn't emphasized in the TV show at all. In the TV show, you're aware that they're young, but they never fully give ages, I don't believe, because I don't remember them saying how old Danny was. In fact, in the show I was like, maybe she's 16, 17. I know the person who played her was a full grown adult, but I think the character was supposed to be like 16, 17. No, when she gets married, she's 13. When she gets pregnant, she's 14. And we're very aware that Khal Drogo is well into his older years. And that's emphasized a lot throughout this book is the age of people when they're getting married, when they end up having to birth a bastard child because they're so in love with this man who is 30, 35, 40, and they're a 15-year-old girl. Like even Robert Baratheon, Ned was like, this girl is 15, she was a virgin, and she's in a whorehouse, and she's in love with you. And Robert is married to Cersei. I believe he's past his 20s, I have to say, because it like emphasizes everything he's done throughout his life, but they don't really give an age. We know he has 3 kids. So he's lived a life. He's lived a long life. And it's just this emphasis on all the girls' ages, but we don't know any of the men ages. You're just aware that they're older. And I have to say, that's very weird. It's so weird to me because in the TV show, the age differences weren't emphasized like that. Like the only ages of men that we really know are the Stark boys. The Stark boys, you learn that they're young because their story is they're learning to be fighters at a young age. They're seeing some horrible and cruel things in this world at a young age, and they're stepping up to be lords and the heirs of Winterfell at a young age. But for the girls, it's like they're so young and they're being sexually assaulted and birthing children and being married. And that's so creepy to me. It's so creepy to me. And I'm like, dude, this is the first fantasy book that I've ever read that was written by a man. And I see why so many people talk about the difference between a man writing a book versus a woman writing a book, because at the end of the day, this is a fantasy world. I don't care if back in the day that's how it would, that's how it was, because I mean, it still happens in modern time. There's still so many countries trying to get rid of child brides, where we always have this disgusting idea of older men wanting young girls. I can't even begin to imagine why there's so many pedophiles and predators and groomers out here in the world. But it's a fight that we continue to fight every day. But it was a fight that was not a fight in medieval times. It was very normalized, to be these ages. So even though the women were always uncomfortable and the women were always like, I don't want to do that, what the hell? It was almost like, well, it's your duty. He's a king. Like, I don't give a damn. I don't care if he's a king, an angel, God himself. Take him down. I don't want to do that. And so, especially if it's just like, this is a fantasy book. It's a fantasy world. I don't want to hear the argument of, well, that's what they did in medieval times, because this is creepy. This is very creepy. Just the constant emphasis on these women's ages. And I get, you know what? No, that's not even, I guess. I know as a woman how creepy it is. Like, it doesn't feel like you're telling a woman's story. You're telling it through a man's eye of like, and she's a young girl. And it's like, oh, I can't imagine. I just can't imagine what it's like for a woman. But as a woman, I can't imagine. I can, because I also was a teenager who had a bunch of older men hitting on me, and I would literally be like, I'm 16, I'm 15, I'm 14, thinking that would get them to walk away. And instead, only it was like one or two men who walked away, because I will always vividly remember them, especially this one. I told him I was 14. He said, "Have a good day, stay in school," and walked away. Like instantly walked away, like was disgusted that he even thought I was older. But the typical response was always, "Damn, I would go to jail for you. You look so damn good. Like, I can't believe you're so young, but like, look at this body. You look like a woman. You act and carry yourself so maturely. How can you be this young? Are you lying to me?" Like, and at that age, I was like, oh, maybe they really are taken aback, or like, I'm flattered that, like, you think I'm older. Thank you. I do carry myself very with decorum, very demure, if you will, but this makes me uncomfortable, and I'm walking away because now you know my age, and it didn't turn you away. In fact, it almost like piqued your interest that I'm so young. And now as an adult, I recognize that to be a tactic of, oh, let me flatter you, let me love bomb you, because I need you to believe that I don't do this, that I almost find it weird that you're so young. But I don't. I think it's cute, and I think it's hot that you're so young. It's weird. It's very weird. So being someone who's been on the side of like, creepy men, leave me alone, it's weird. It's so weird. And I really don't like it. This is a fantasy world. Bro, we could have aged them up. And like even Sarah J. Maas, right? We had a 300-something-year-old man. And she was 17? 17? Was she 17? She was 19 when she got pregnant. So, yeah, she was 17. And then she turned 18 by the time Love started forming, I believe. I don't know. Was it? Because I know the running joke is like a 19-year-old with a 500-year-old man. I mean, even Throne of Glass, Selena, she was 18. And so to me, I'm like, it's not that, it's a fantasy world, babes. It's literal fantasy. You have it set in medieval times. So does Sarah J. Maas. Age them up. Because it's a fantasy world, you have the power to age them up. You have the power, because making them this young is disturbing. It's disgusting. But saying they're 18, you still understand the youth. It's not like they're 18, they're an adult, they're fine. No, the situations you're putting them in is still just as hurtful. It still hurts just as much. But what is like making it hard for me to get through this book is the age, bro. Like, I cannot with the age. It's weird. It's creepy. And even, what is it? For House of the Dragon, with Rhaenyra marrying her uncle, and the first time that something was about to go on and pop in between them, she was a very young girl. I don't even think we discussed her age. So for me, it was easier for me to assume, like, is she like 15? Is she 16? How old is this girl? And it was easier for me to like age her up in my head. But when you have it in plain white and black writing, you can't age them up. Like, you're sitting there like, that's a 14-year-old girl. And so I think that's the one thing that I hate. I think we need to age these women up. And that's the one thing I have to say I hate about his writing so far, is just the ages of the people and the situations that they're in. You can put young people in horrible situations, and we learned that from Sarah J. Maas, right? She had an 8-year-old literally fighting to become an assassin, and it wasn't sexual things that were happening to her, but instead it was like physical torture. A Robin was literally like, who was it? She told Chaol, oh, he broke my right hand, or he broke my right arm, because that was my sword arm, and I was getting really good, but in doing so, my left arm wasn't, really working as hard, and I couldn't fight as well with my left hand. So he broke it to force me to learn how to use the sword in my left hand. Oh yeah, like he would practice the torture on me, and then I had to go practice it on other people. Like, very physically abusive, literally like beat her to a bloody pulp at 16 and was like, get out. all these horrible things happening to a young girl, but it doesn't need to be sexual. And I don't, and it's disgusting. And I think it's being a man, you can find it revolting, but you're still at a distance because you can't ever think, that's me. This is happening to me. This could have happened to me. Or you were never put in a situation where you are a young girl and you constantly have older men walking up to you, literally trying to get your number, like fascinated by the fact that you're so young, but you look older. So they enjoy. I don't even think I look that much older. I really don't. That's really a compliment we need to stop giving to young women. You look so much older. You look like a woman. Look at you. Stop. It's weird. It's weird. Keep it to yourself. If that's a thought that comes to your mind, keep it to yourself. We don't need to be telling young women that. We can tell them that at 18. At 18, you're an adult, realized by the government that you're an adult and you're about to have to do some government things and some adult things. And so I think that compliment is actually kind of helpful because at 18, you realize like you're still a child and you're still like, I don't know what I'm doing. Somebody help me. Parents, please help. And so then when you're like, oh my gosh, you look like a woman, you handle yourself like a woman. Thank you. I needed that because I don't feel like one. Thank you so much. 20, 21, 19. Carry yourself like a woman. Oh my God, thank you. Really? Because I felt like a toddler playing with dinosaur toys back there. Like, what? Thank you. 16, 17, 15, 14. Oh, you look like a woman. You carry yourself like a woman. Stop. Stop. I just came out of diapers yesterday. Chill. Like, literally chill. Yeah, so I don't like the age thing. And I truly believe that if more people actually read the book, it would be a little creepier. Seeing it on TV and knowing it was adult actors, it was like, nah. It was like I'm watching an adult do this. Like, you can make up whatever age, like you're aware they're playing young, but they're acting. It was the same thing with Euphoria, where everyone's like, they're in high school doing this. And to me, I'm like, they're in high school, but Jacob Elordi very much looks 24. I don't know if he was 24 playing that role. He might have been younger. He looks 24. Like, we knew oh my gosh, I just forgot her name because like she's such a famous actor from Euphoria, but like she doesn't like being in the public eye. That one, the mysterious one who played Maddie. I believe she's like 32 or something, but no one actually knows her real age. Apparently, she's 32. What else? Like, like it's so much easier to just like let these thoughts go. But when it's a book and you don't have the safety net of an adult actor playing these roles out, like, damn, is it creepy. And that's when you're so aware that like, dude, you're not telling anyone's story. You're not telling the real life story of a real life child bride. You're not helping anyone. Instead, this is a fictional world that you have built brick by brick, literally, because you've made up these names, you've made up these streets, you yourself drew the map or had someone draw the map. I don't know that much. And then you aged all these women down. Hey, bro, creepy. Like, okay, white man, go off, So that's the one thing I have to say about George R.R. Martin. I just spoke very boldly about him. I hope this doesn't come to bite me in the butt because, like, I love Game of Thrones, but damn, being faced with the reality of the ages of these women characters. And again, I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to say it again. It pisses me off that the men are like, I'm young and going through troubling times because I have to be Lord. And it's like, I'm not upset that, the men are trying to figure out to be lords, and then the women are trying to navigate finding power in a world that only wants them to be wives and mothers. Because I love that we have the Sansa Stark, because I'm like, I relate to her so much. Reading her in the TV show, I hated her. I was like, oh my gosh, do better, be like Arya, because I'm a person who loves a strong woman character. But in the book, when you see it from her perspective, and she's like, who the hell wants to go roll in mud? Why would you not want to put on pretty dresses, pretty perfumes, be carried in this beautiful carriage, have people wait on you, beck and call every day, eat beautiful foods, meet beautiful men, and be rich? Who wouldn't want to do that? And I was like, she got a damn point. I'm kind of pissed off that I hated her in the TV show because, yeah, same. That's all I want to do. Bro, put me in a carriage, put me in a pretty dress. You got people waiting for, yes, you're just rich and in love. You are right, Sansa Stark. I am so sorry that I hated you in the TV show. You know, so I love that he tells I know he's not trying to do injustice to women because, you know, he has the Sansa Stark. And then he has the Arya Stark where everyone's like, you need to be a lady, act like a lady. And she's like, why the hell would I act like a lady? I want to go talk to people. I want to learn how to fight. I don't want to wear pretty dresses. I want to wear chainmail. And I want to hold a sword. And I want to kill somebody. Like, and so you have these different, perspectives. And I believe that's where it lies, is telling the story and different points of views of women like that. And being able to say like, yo, I don't know, because I guess I just saw it at a different, yeah. It's like, I have this perspective of like, I, as a woman, am trying to navigate this world and the way they treat women. And then you have the men who are like, I'm trying to navigate having to be so young and instantly having to be put in a role of power because what the hell. And so like, you're really seeing like children are losing their innocence in this fantasy world. And I love that story, but I really, really, really hate this story of like, I'm a young girl and all of us are child brides being like sent off. I don't know. Personally, I think it's really creepy. It's just really creepy that it's creepy. I don't know. I don't know. Because I just thought of a different perspective of like, no, because I don't have perspective on that, dude. Like, that's just me. To me, and the few positions that I was put in, I was like, I find it very uncomfortable that we just keep emphasizing the age of these very young women and it's a fantasy world and I don't like it. But I don't know. If y'all have other opinions, leave them in the comments. Tell me what you feel and what you think about how he writes the ages of these women, especially if you've read the book. If you haven't, I don't know, Google some screenshots or something of the book, because I personally, I think it's weird. Or maybe y'all all clocked that on the TV show and you're like, nah, that was weird. Because for me, like, honestly, the incest doesn't even get me. It does not get to me at all. And that's how I'd always tell people, like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to watch my favorite incest show. And people are like, what? Like, the amount of times I had people like eyebrow raise, and I'm like, but let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. It is a show filled with, like, people have always been disgusted by the show, and I've always loved it for the plot and stuff. But like, let's call it what it is. This is not a TV show about dragons as much as we want it to be. And that's the emphasis and the selling point of this show. But this is a show about telling the story of power, of trauma, a whole lot of incest, and a whole lot of sexual assault and abuse, child brides. Like, yeah, if you call it your favorite little dragon show, yippee. You call it your favorite little incest show, which there's a lot of that in here. Like, it's like, ugh. Anyways, leave your comments, leave your thoughts and prayers in the comments. Sorrows, prayers. And this was supposed to be literally 15 minutes. I'm now at 46 minutes. And am I editing this down? Absolutely not. I'm sorry if the audio quality is bad because I just rambled in a headphone mic, but I love you all, and I'm literally just going to title this Game of Thrones because this is for me. This is for me and the fantasy girls, the fantasy readers. I need to know y'all's take. I had to make a full podcast episode about this because I literally finished the chapter, picked up these headphones, and was like, we got to talk about it. So, love you. My socials will always be in the show notes. My little business email always in the show notes. And a link for any women out there looking to find rights in a world where Roe v. Wade no longer exists will always be in the show notes. Anything else? I don't know. Leave a comment. Oh, subscribe to the show. rate the show, subscribe to the show, follow me. I'll always be putting out more content. This podcast is not ending anytime soon. This podcast will end when someone puts a gun to my head and pulls the trigger. Because you think I'm going to stop 6 feet underground? Oh, absolutely not. Oh, absolutely. If I die of natural causes, babes, I'm in that coffin with a mic. Like, bury me with a mic. But subscribe, more episodes to come. I have a special episode between me and my cousins, and we sat there and truly an unfiltered conversation to where I need to bleep out so much of it to put it for the public, and then the unfiltered, raw, quality episode is going to be behind a paywall, aka the subscription to this podcast. So you can subscribe when that podcast comes out, and then you could unsubscribe. But I'll let y'all know when it drops, because as of right now, job searching, I don't think it's a podcast episode that needs to be put out right away. But I am editing and working on it for you guys. And then what else? Is there anything else to come? I don't know. You're just following along with my life. So give the show 5 stars. It helps me a lot. It helps algorithms be like, hey, people like this show. So yeah, and I'm on a road to 100 followers on Spotify, because it's actually the only follower account that I can see visually, and I'm currently at 77, and so I would love to kick that up to 100 anytime soon. So follow, and I'm gonna start yapping, because I know you came here to listen to me yap, but my mouth is dry and I got emails to go answer. So I love you. XOXO. Peace out, Girl Scout. XOXO. Go Piss Girl. Ah.